Hey guys, back here with Trey at Teach Yourself. We're going to teach ourselves some Spanish today. Just like in the last video, I promised we're going to go over some of the most important verbs, but we're going to go over it in a particular way. In this video, we're going to go over the regular rules. We're going to start out with the AR verbs, and we're going to see if we can't get to the ER, and we're going to see if we can't get to the IR verbs, and if we can't, fine, no problem. Or I might just make this a little bit longer video. We'll see when we get there. But right now we're going to start with just the regular AR verbs, the most important verbs to learn. Make sure you're making this Quizlet, writing down those conjugations like I showed you how to in the videos before. Make sure you're watching your Netflix. Make sure you're making your Quizlets off of the shows with your Netflix. Yeah, just make sure you're doing everything basically. So we're going to sit here. And we're going to make our little chart, just like I showed you before. Yo, tú, él, nosotros, vosotros, ellos. Right? And our first verb is going to be hablar, which means to speak. Hablar. So, the way that these words work, right, is you take this AR, that's why they're called AR verbs, right here at the end, the A and the R, you get rid of it. Just like that, get rid of it. So now you just have that little empty space right there, right? So, what do you put here? Well, it depends on the pronoun you're using. So, what we're gonna do here is it goes H, you have habl, H-A-B-L, and then you just go, oh, which turns this into hablo. And then you have as, which would turn into hablas. This is gonna make sense when I start actually writing it out, but I'm gonna want you guys to copy this chart down. Pause the video and copy this down. Let me write this down a little. Get this done a little quicker. Habla, hablamos, habláis, hablan. Okay, so now we're gonna get a little close in right here. Okay, so we have, and let me make it a little easier for you guys to understand. Let me put the root word back at the top. And this is how I prefer to draw this out when I do it, or have done it in the past. You have your root word, and then you have your pronouns here. Yo, tú, él, ella, ustedes. Remember that, it's understood that this is él, ella, and ustedes. And then nosotros, and then vosotros, and then ellos, and ellas, and ustedes. This one is usted. Sorry, I messed up on that. Yo, tú, él, ella, usted, for you. Vosotros, nosotros, vosotros, ellos, ellas, ustedes. Usted, ustedes. Okay. And so it would turn the word into yo hablo, because you would take this AR right here, you cross it out, and then you would replace it with this O. But then if you have tú, you would replace it with as, which would turn that word from hablar into yo hablo, or tú hablas, or él, ella, usted habla. Nosotros hablamos, vosotros habláis. Remember the acento aquí. Mira aquí, look here, mira aquí. Yeah, un acento. That's very important. Always remember the acentos, because sometimes if you don't put the acentos, the word will be counted as misspelled. So remember that. Ellos, ellas, ustedes hablan. Okay, so write this down. This is for all AR verbs that are regular. This is for all regular AR verbs. Okay? Now, we're gonna go through. We're gonna put a little paper towel. A piece of paper will be fine. I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna actually write it out for y'all so you can see what it looks like, right? And then I'm going to give you verbs, and then you're going to use, I'm going to conjugate a couple of them for you, but they're all going to conjugate the same, and I'm going to show you how it's uniform throughout the whole thing. Okay, so just make sure you copy these, and you will be able to see what I'm talking about. Yo hablo, tú hablas. Habla. Hablamos. Okay. And now this way you can actually see it written out. Yo hablo, tú hablas, él habla, nosotros hablamos, vosotros habláis, ellos hablan. Okay? So copy that out, have that ready. Okay. Now, I'm going to conjugate another one for you guys. We're going to do a different little root word, and I'm going to so you can see how uniform it is. It's completely the same throughout. You're about to see how much the same it is. Okay. The next word you're going to learn is mirar, which means to look or to watch. Okay. Miro. Mira. Okay, and so here you're going to see the word mirar, which means to see or to watch. Okay, use it like if you're watching TV. You know, miro, like right here. Yo miro el televisor. I am watching TV. Yo miro el televisor. We are tú miras el televisor. Él mira el gato. He's looking at the cat. Nosotros miramos. See, it's all uniform. There's an N to the root word because we take off the AR. M-I-R-R. M-I-R-R. Oh, M-I-R-R-A-S. M-I-R-R-A. M-I-R-R-A-M-O-S. And then ice and an. And you see how that works. So make sure you go back in the video and copy that down. That's pretty much how it is. And now I'm gonna go through, we're gonna do some rapid fire. Now that you know that rule, you can conjugate any regular AR verb without problem. There is no issue anymore. So now I'm just gonna go through and I'm gonna give you the different verbs and what they mean. Now, I'm not giving you these verbs in the order of how important they are. They're just all a part of the list that I deem to be the most important verbs to learn. But I am putting them in the order of easiest to learn. So, there's that. So, here we have caminar, which means to walk. Caminar, to walk. Then we have nadar, to swim. Nadar, to swim. And here, watch for G's in the middle of a word when you're pronouncing it. It's not digitar. It's not digitar. It's not a Digimon, It's digitar. Digitar. It's going to be a bit like when you get into J's and pronouncing J's, you're going to have a little bit of that. Digitar. Almost a little bit like Arabic, a little bit, which makes sense since Arabs did take over the continent for over 800 years and rape and pillage the land, but that's a story for a different day. And And then we have escuchar. Escuchar is to listen. It's like, and it is different than hearing. So the word for to hear will be later, but this is to listen. And then we have preguntar, which means to ask. Does not mean to get pregnant. It's to ask. So make sure you write those down. I know we're going a little bit more rapid fire today, but it's easier to do that and just get you guys the information. You put it in the Quizlet. We can go from there, and then we can get into some other things. Trying to make this as eligible as possible. Okay. The last of the AR regular verbs that we're learning today. Okay. We're going to go with amar. A-M-A-R. To love. That's a romantic love. You know, it's very sexual, romantic. And then we have odiar. Que es el opuesto, which is el opuesto, the opposite. Del amar, of amar, right? So odiar es el opuesto o la opuesta, masculine and feminine, opposite of amar, which means to hate. So odiar is to hate, amar is to love, odiar is to hate. And here we have necesitar. This is something here, if you're learning the Spanish accent, C's and Z's. We'll get into that in a minute. Yep. Necesitar. C and Z's are a th, like how we say the, but more like a lisp, like th. Like if you were to have a lisp while saying the word lisp, it's not a lisp. It's a lisp. Okay, so it's not necesitar, it's necesitar. Okay, cool. Okay, so amar, to love, odiar, to hate, necesitar, to need. This C is at the beginning of the word, and it's comprar. So you're gonna see you'll pick that up naturally though, and you'll figure out which letters and when to. Usually if the next letter is like an E or something like that, you'll figure it out. But comprar is to buy. And pagar is to pay. So with this, comprar, yo compro, necesito comprar algo pan, some bread. It's a different word for some. We'll learn that later. But necesitar comprar algo pan, entonces pago el mesero if you're in a restaurant, which would be the waiter. So, which pagar, to pay, comprar, to buy. Necesitar, to need, odiar, to hate, amar, to love. Okay. Now, that's all the AR verbs. We're about 14 minutes into this. In the next video, I'm going to do both the ER and the IR verbs that are regular, that I think are the most important. And then we'll get into the irregular ones in this group that I deem to be the most important, and then we'll be done with the most important ones. And I'm going to have an extra word for you at the end of, not the next video, but the video after that. So get ready for that. Okay, that's coming up. All right. Always good seeing you guys. And have a good day. See you later. Que tengan un buen día.